So last year we had the Pixel 3a following the launch of the Pixel 3, and this year it's the same. We have the Pixel 4a following last year's launch of the Pixel 4. So in terms of performance, forgetting cameras and all that other stuff, but in terms of performance, what is the difference between a Pixel 4a and a Pixel 4? Well, let's find out. So we have the Pixel 4a with the Snapdragon 730G on the left-hand side, and we have the Pixel 4 with the Snapdragon 855 on the right-hand side. Both devices are running in 1080p. Of course, there is rumors that we're going to see a Pixel 5 at some point this year, but these are the current two Pixels. They both have 4 in the name. One's the 4a and the other is the 4, but there are some big differences here. Obviously, there is going to be a significant difference between a Snapdragon 730G and a Snapdragon 855. The question is really by how much of a difference are we going to see? Now, already we're seeing a slight lead taken by the Pixel 4 as it's the first into the 16-thread test ahead of the Pixel 4a, which is still in the compression test at this point. It's now into the 16-thread test, but the 4 is almost going to finish it. There we go. There we go. Look at that nice straight lines. There we go, into the blur test, which of course the beginning of the mixed CPU GPU part of this test, while the Pixel 4a is still into the 16-thread test. Let's see how quickly it can finish that, but already the influence scrolling is now on the right hand side as it now gets the blur test on the left hand side. So definitely a lead by the Pixel 4, but the question is by how much is it going to be significant? Well, let's look at the frame rate now that we're going to get here on the smoke particle test. Should appear any second now. 21 frames a second, there we go. That's a good number for the Pixel 4a to aim for as we see the Pixel 4 go into Unity test, and that's looking pretty smooth at this point. Frame rate on the left, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Come on, let's see. What do you? 18 frames a second, so not as good as the Pixel 4 as you would expect, as the Pixel 4 is coming to the end of the Unity test, as the Pixel 4a only goes in to Unity test, and the Pixel 4 is now into the Unreal test, and it's looking to be handling that quite smoothly. So I think this is going to be a decisive win by the Pixel 4, but by how much? Let's see what the difference is going to be now when we get to the end of that Unreal test, see what the final time's going to clock up to be. There we go, 1 minute 51.1. While the Pixel 4a is now still in the Unity test, it will go down to the water now, turn right, and then go to the end of the valley, and then it will start the Unreal test. Of course, SpeedTest G uses 3D tests by both Unity and Unreal, two of the biggest development kits for 3D gaming, so we really get a feel of how these devices work across both development kits, and we are now into the Unreal test as it is going through this very complicated graphics scene that I have created. Now, of course, remember, there is a difference between gaming and these benchmarks. There are lots of other questions that people ask. Please do read the FAQ. I wrote it there, so I don't have to keep answering the same questions in the comments every single time I post a video. Really, you should read that FAQ. Now, what's the time going to be here on the left-hand side? Come in, there we go. 2 minutes 38.4. Okay, let's break down the scores and see exactly what happened. And so as we saw, a decisive win there by the Pixel 4, 1 minute 51.1, and then 47.3 seconds later came in the Pixel 4a with 2 minutes 38.4. And of course, we've got the difference here between the Snapdragon 730G and the Snapdragon 855. That's two Cortex A76 cores clocked at 2.2 gigahertz in the Pixel 4a, whereas there are 4 Cortex A76 cores clocked at up to 2.8 gigahertz in the Pixel 4. So what does that mean in terms of CPU time? 58.9 versus 47.9, so a difference of 11 seconds there in favor of the Pixel 4. When we get to the mixed CPU GPU, not quite as significant, but still a win by the Pixel 4, 27.5 versus 32.6, so a 5.1 seconds difference there. But then the real difference comes to the Adreno 618 versus the Adreno 640 in the Snapdragon 855, so you get 35.6 for the Pixel 4, 1 minute 6.8 for the Pixel 4a, almost twice as long for the Pixel 4a, so a difference there, significant difference there for the GPU. But when you add it all up, you can see very clearly the Pixel 4 won 1 minute 51.1. My name is Gary Sims, this is SpeedTest G. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. There are more Pixel 4a videos on the way, so if you want to catch them, then why not stick around by subscribing to the channel. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.